Dear fellow Ethiopians, the second phase of the law enforcement actions we began in the Tigray region has been completed. We are now in the final and third phase. In prior weeks, we had already stated that the law enforcement action we are taking has three phases. The first phase was to remobilize and strengthen our defense force who were attacked by their own people and restore the broken chain of command to enable them to carry out their mandate effectively. As a result, the defense force quickly recovered with great perseverance, passion and courage from the tragic attacks they encountered. Carrying the full support of the Ethiopian people at heart, the National Defense Force are moving forward in different directions with great haste and speed to bring the treasonous TPLF clique to justice. The main objectives of the second phase of the operation was to remove the TPLF militia from various areas, decrease its destructive capabilities, liberate the people of Tigray from the grips of the treasonous clique, and encircle the city of Mekelle, where the TPLF clique is in hiding. In addition, the second phase also included the following objectives: liberating the area outside Mekelle city, which were under the TPLF treasonous clique, recovering looted weapons and campsites, seizing strategic weaponry that TPLF militia looted before they are able to use them for destructive purpose, rescuing members of the National Defense Force who were held captive, burying our decreased national heroes, and protecting from harm our endangered and vulnerable citizens in the region. Accordingly, the National Defense Force has marched forward, liberating our citizens victoriously in Dansha, Humera, Shire, Shiraro, Aksum, Arua, Adigrat, Alamata, Churchur, Mehoni, Koram and other places. In our law enforcement operations, all the necessary precautionary measures have been taken to ensure the civilians are not harmed. Great care has been taken to protect historical monuments, places of worship, public facilities, infrastructure, natural resources, and the likes. Although the TPLF clique won't serve damage to occur, our military planes have been very careful not to harm civilians to the extent where missions have been aborted on identifying civilians around target areas. This way, the irresponsible TPLF clique have not managed to satisfy their desire for the National Defense Force to attack religious institutions and heritage sites which they are using as cover. The military has demonstrated its ability to carry out its mission wisely. In liberated areas, elders have begun to recognize the people. Our defense force have steered to provide support to victims and to assist the people understand the situation and make themselves part of the process. People in liberated areas have resumed their activities with the protections of federal force. The second phase of the operations has now limited and concentrated TPLF's capacity to Mekelle. All that the clique is left is the fort that they have set up in Mekelle and empty pride. The people have clearly demonstrated their allegiance with our defense force and their mission to ensure the rule of law. The people of Tigray have seen for themselves that the TPLF's propaganda about the army is wrong. The people of Tigray are witnessing the kindness and sacrifice of the army. In every area, communities are breaking bread with the defense force, pointing out the paths of the treasonous militia and exposing hidden weapons and equipment. In this manner, the people of Tigray have already shown that they have had enough of the violence perpetrated against them by the TPLF. When the army entered Shire, the people erupted in joy and handed over more than 200 weapons to our troops, which they given by the militia to attack the army. Similarly, when our forces arrived in Aksum, the people themselves liberated the members of the army that were held by the TPLF, treated the wounded, and connected them with our national troops. The people of Aksum requested the defense force to remain with them and expressed their commitment to support in the enforcement operations. When our army entered the town of Adigrat, the people themselves captured the TPLF special force and militia in hiding and also handed them over to our defense force. The TPLF clique's militia fled away, destroying many infrastructures, schools and health facilities, roads and bridges which were assets for the country. The destruction of the historic Aksum airport by the extremists has left the lasting scar on our tourism industry, which will take years to recover. Not only have this destructive force demolished road that people of Tigray use for their daily activities, They have also shown their disregard for the people of Mekelle and the city itself by threatening to turn Mekelle into a war zone. Dear Ethiopians, the law enforcement operation has now reached the third and crucial phase. The third phase is the final step in bringing the treasonous TPLF clique to justice. Clearly, it requires a great deal of wisdom, caution, and patience. The clique has made it clear that it has no compassion for its people, its history, its culture, its heritage, and its beliefs. That's why it would be satisfied if everything disappeared and the clique alone survived to escape the law. With disregard for the people of Tigray and other Ethiopians, they are using religious sites, hotels, government institutions, residential areas, schools, monuments, and even cemeteries as hideouts in Mekelle. It's apparent that the TPLF clique in its demise seems committed to take with it many innocent victims of its hateful and divisive propaganda. Like terrorist groups we have seen in some countries that don't care about the people or the country, they have taken Mekelle city hostage and are treating it as a war zone rather than the home that it's for many innocent Ethiopians. As the people of Mekelle, who are now confronted with the prospect of destruction, are our citizens, and as the responsibility to rebuild the city rests on our shoulders, we believe greatly that our law enforcement action in Mekelle should be done in a way that results in minimal damage and casualties. Therefore, I would like to express to all that we will take ultimate care and all precautionary measures to protect the people and city of Mekelle in successful carrying out our rule of law mission to its conclusion. Therefore, first, we call upon the people of Mekelle to play a key role in bringing this treasonous group to justice by standing in solidarity with the National Defense Force in this law enforcement action. No lives should be lost and no property should be destroyed for the sake of a few greedy individuals that are seeking impunity using their own people as human shields. Hence, the cooperation of the people of Mekelle will an important role and will minimize the damage. Secondly, the members of the Tigray Special Force and militia who are carrying out the mission of the destructive clique are also called upon to surrender peacefully. Realizing that we are now in the final stage of the law enforcement action, we call upon them to take advantage of this last opportunity and surrender peacefully to the government within 72 hours. Thirdly, to members of the destructive TPLF clique, your journey of destruction is coming to an end. We urge you to surrender peacefully within the next 72 hours, recognizing that you are at the point of no return. Take this last opportunity. We call on you to refrain from further massacres and destruction of cities and save yourselves from being condemned forever in the books of history. Finally, what we like the entire Ethiopian people to understand is that the federal government is prepared in all aspects to proceed to the third phase of law enforcement action, along with the task of returning those who have fled their homes, to rehabilitate the displaced, to repair the damaged infrastructure, and to help citizens in the liberated areas return to their normal lives. We call upon all Ethiopians to be their brothers and sisters, keeper along the road of recovery and healing. Since we Ethiopians have a long history of mutual support, we must assist our people without waiting for external support. To this end, I urge everyone to join the efforts of the government and various community activities that have been started. God bless Ethiopia and its people. November 22, 2020.
After taking office on April 2, 2018, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed emphasized the need for the Tigray region and its leadership to continue to focus on peace and development and extended a hand to TPLF to work together in this endeavor in a spirit of love, forgiveness and unity. He has been very consistent in informing the general public that TPLF was just a political party and must not be mistaken for the people of Tigray. On several occasions, he called upon the TPLF leadership to cease its destabilizing conducts and to become a force of peace and development. Accordingly, in April 2018, the Prime Minister's trip to Mekelle and discussion with community representatives was one of the first such visits held by the Prime Minister in his effort to have a series of dialogue with fellow citizens. The Prime Minister reiterated his firm conviction that the federal government will collaborate with the regional government to address the grievances and needs of the people in the region. He called upon the people of Tigray to focus on peace and development and the TPLF to harness all its energy and of the people with a singular focus of eradicating poverty. He encouraged the residents of the region to nurture their relations with neighboring regions to ensure lasting peace. In May 2018, Prime Minister met with his cabinet for the first time to endorse a decision that protects the benefits of retired senior leadership, including those from TPLF. In the very first Council of Ministers meeting chaired by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the cabinet endorsed a decision to ensure that all the benefits and privileges of the senior leadership, including that TPLF leadership enjoyed while in office, will continue to be in place even after retirement. In December 2018, he called for the establishment of a National Reconciliation Commission to resolve simmering differences of national significance and to ascertain truth and justice, deploying the rich social capital and legal history the country has. The establishing proclamation commits the Commission to seek truth and justice and provide a forum for victims to be heard and perpetrators to disclose, all directed by an independent institution committed to seeking truth to prevent the future occurrence of such conflict. Similarly, he formed an Administrative Boundaries and Identity Issues Commission to seek a neutral, highly professional and peaceful solution to these problems, since conflicts relating to administrative boundaries are a cause of great instability in the country. These efforts to achieve lasting peace, while lauded by a majority of Ethiopians, were however openly opposed by the TPLF, publicly stating that they would not accept the request. In January 2019, Ministry of Peace travels to Mekelle to engage TPLF. Officials from the Ministry of Peace traveled to Mekelle with invitations to engage with the administration in constructive dialogue on the future of our nation. Their effort was once again rejected. In October 2019, the Prime Minister visited and witnessed the condition of the Aksum obelisks and disclosed to the community that he held talks with the Italian government regarding the protection and renovation of the monuments. In a town hall discussion where Debretsion Gabramikael co-presided, the Prime Minister addressed key queries raised regarding budgetary allocations, water shortage, infrastructure requirements, peace and security, and other issues. He called upon the people to work together for peace and stability in the region. He also encouraged TPLF to address local needs and work for peace. The Prime Minister advised the TPLF and its supporters to use the reform as an opportunity to work together and to refrain from improper and destructive actions for the sake of narrow political gain. Although there was an ample video evidence that showed that TPLF had discussed the need for the merger of EPRDF prior to the change in leadership and actively worked towards it, TPLF began to publicly resist and label the Prime Minister's effort to create a revitalized party for the new era as unitarist once Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed resumed the process towards EPRDF's party merger. November 2019, a group of peace ambassadors called Mothers for Peace traveled to Mekelle to plead the officials of the regional administration for peace. Their call was unheeded. In May 2020, the Prime Minister urged the Tigray government to abide by the decision of the House of Federation to protect the Tigray people from COVID-19. The TPLF announced in a blatant violation of the FDRE constitution that the party does not recognize as legitimate the decision of the House of People's Representatives and the House of Federation to postpone the national election due to COVID-19. Following that, the Prime Minister urged the Tigray government to abide by the law and the decision of the two houses and refrain from hosting a sham election that will endanger the constitutional order. Eventually, TPLF claimed to have adopted its own electoral law and established its own electoral commission and orchestrated a sham and illegal election in which it won all the seats in the regional council. June 2020, a group that consists of 50 of the country's most senior religious and community elders and representatives went to Mekelle. The group held talks with the Tigray regional government and various political party leaders in Mekelle. Regrettably, these most revered community and religious leaders were rebuffed by the TPLF leadership, treating the visitors with utmost contempt and sending them back with nothing. Dr. Debretsion Gabramikael sent off the group, stating, "Where have you been until now? Now is not the time for reconciliation." Members of the group were also insulted and humiliated by other TPLF officials. The group of elders once again tried to set up a dialogue platform between the leadership of the two parties in Addis Ababa, whereupon both sides assigned party officials to engage in dialogue. However, on the same day the talks were scheduled to happen, TPLF pulled out the talks and cancelled their appearance, stating, "We don't want to engage in dialogue with Prosperity Party." Responding to questions from members of the House of Peoples about alleged discrimination of Tigray, the Prime Minister provided evidence based on the significantly increased budgetary allocation provided to the Tigray region. He also pointed out that the government has exceptionally allocated additional spending to finalize the Mekelle water project that has been delayed for years. He repeatedly reiterated that the people of Tigray are our people. The TPLF is only one party. It is not the only party represent the patriotic and peace-loving people of Tigray. The Prime Minister, speaking on the nationwide mayhem bordering on party-sponsored terrorism, urged all political parties, including TPLF, for peaceful engagement by stating, "We only have one country. We should settle our differences in round-table discussion and in a civilized manner." In his message on current affairs, he called upon all political parties to resolve their differences amicably and through dialogue. During a consultation held with competing political parties, some inquired why the federal government is not taking swift action against the transgressions of TPLF. He replied as follows: "This is our position regarding Tigray. In Tigray region, there are forces that want to provoke conflict with the Amhara region or Eritrea or the federal government. There are those who would want to claim that forceful measures are being taken against them and blame others. I want to assure you that I have no desire to engage in war with the Tigray region. I'm certain that the people of Tigray are tired of hearing the sounds of gunfire. I think they had enough of that. We have been facing lots of problems for the honor of Tigray people and for the sake of this belief. Now it is time to choose. If we decide to go into war because we are many, we have money, the federal police and the army, well, these people who only know how to have others killed will not die. War does not choose between people. It kills the farmer, women and children. We strongly believe that we should not kill people, that we should wait until the people understand and resolve the issue peacefully. We are repeatedly provoked to go into conflict. There is still the need on their part to claim that the federal government has attacked them. We would not hate it if there was a way to separately target those culprits, but we do not want to make the people victims of conflict. Because of that, we are patient." In a one-on-one exclusive interview in which Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was asked about TPLF's increasing belligerence and potential armed confrontation, Prime Minister Abiy responded, "I don't think war is necessary for Ethiopia. I don't want to be considered as one of those who support war. What I want is to send masks to Tigray for corona, not to send bullets. I want to send a tablet, not a bullet. I want to dig a water well. I believe that it needs to change with development. The people of Tigray are our people. We don't want to take any action to the detriment of our people and leave regrets for tomorrow." TPLF openly declared that they will not comply with laws, directives and regulations, among others, to be enacted by the federal government after October 5, 2020. TPLF recalled all representatives from Tigray in the Federal House of People's Representatives and House of Federation after October 5 on grounds that the region would not recognize any of the federal state organs. In November 2020, TPLF launched an attack on the northern command of the Ethiopian National Defense Force. A week later, TPLF member publicly admits to the preemptive strikes it launched against the National Defense Force.